Hi, all, and welcome back to another episode of the Black Christian Geek. I'm Richard L. Scott, and I just want to share with you all today 5 things that I like and enjoy about the new Windows 11. Again, Windows 11 won't be officially released until October 5th, so that's about 2.5 weeks out. And upon the release, I have since learned since my last episode that that's when they will officially start rolling out, and usually corporate customers first. So if you work with Windows at your office, and chances are if you work in the office, you all are using Windows, you will get it there first before home users gets it. But nevertheless, there are a few things and a few features that I like to share that I do like, since I have been using Windows 11 as my daily driver since the last week of August. And I purpose to use it the entire month of September and hopefully come back and give like a final summation. And at this point, I'll probably use it all the way up to October 5th. So this is an early release. I'm not sponsored by anybody. There are no paid advertisements. I'm self-sponsored, and all of the opinions and ideas are my own. So let's jump in. One of the first things I really like is the placement of settings and how they set the settings out. So if you press the Windows Start button, you can come up and press Settings, and this layout is familiar to me. And for those of us who also use Linux, it's similar to the GNOME desktop layout. But in this desktop layout scenario, one of the things I like about it, it shows the current user signed in. And as an IT professional, trying to tell people how to find the name of their machine on Windows 10, it's not complicated, but it's not intuitive. It's not very easy. But on here, you can see here's the name of my system, and not just the name of the system, but the type of system it is, which is a little bit harder to find on systems before Windows 11. And of course, if you click rename, just like, well, I have to put my PIN code in, but it will allow me with the proper authorization to change the name of the machine. And then with basic settings like display, sound, notification, and the others, as you can see, fairly easy to change. And I'll show you an alternate way of getting this. In the event that you need to change the date or time, if you were to right click and says adjust date and time is right there, and when you select that, it takes you back into settings, but for the specific settings where you can make those changes. Because I dual boot my machine, sometimes my time gets off, and it's just a matter of coming here and clicking sync to get it to the proper place. Number two, the thing that I really like is going back to the start button, the placement of the pinned items. So this is different right now in Windows 10. Windows 10 carried over something from Windows 8 that they refined a bit, but I personally never found useful, and that's those live tiles. You know, everything opening and turning. I like now that everything is now just laid out and stationary. So these are what we call pinned items, and there are 2 pages of them. The dot denotes in what position you're in, so you can go up to see this one, to see the first page or the second page. If I wanted to add something to my taskbar here on the bottom, which I've done an entire video on that, you can go back in my library to see. But if you right click and select pin to taskbar, when I click that, you'll notice that now the calculator pops up on the bottom in the taskbar. If you select all items, again, this process is familiar to me as an Android user, and what we call the app drawer. But when you select this, it lists all of the applications I have installed on the system. So if I find something else that I want or need to pin to the taskbar, from right here, I can right click and pin to task, and you see it adds it to the taskbar. But here for the Notepad++, if I right click and select pin to start, now when I go back and go to the second page, now I have that Notepad++ pin. And of course, if I wanted to remove them, it's just a matter of right clicking and doing an unpin from taskbar, and it's gone. Also, you can pin folders. So I'll just use my video folder for example. So if I say pin to start for videos, now when I go here, and again if I go to the second page, you see now I have videos. So if I were to click that video, it takes me directly to my video folder. So that is a awesome upgrade from the way it previously was. Number 3, one of the things that I genuinely like is access to multiple desktops, and not just access to multiple desktops, but the fact that you can, and if you do a Windows key tab, it opens up the multiple desktops, but that you can have different pictures for different desktops. I love that. And something else that Windows does a phenomenal job in doing is isolation of the desktop. You can tell the applications that are running on each desktop by by a little black dot that's shown underneath the icon. So you see now when I open Firefox, it's open on desktop 2. But if I Windows key tab and go back over to desktop 1, you notice that Firefox is not open here. So it does a great job of isolating apps to specific desktops. But if I do, you could do an Alt tab to cycle through the applications that you have on each desktop, or click on the desktop icon in the taskbar to select which desktop you want. This is a new concept for Windows users, but again, for those of us who've been using Macs or Linux for some time, we've had access to and have used multiple desktops for many years. And why is this beneficial, or how can this be helpful? If you are in school, but you have your personal work and your school work, then you can personalize by saying, say, school for your first desktop, and personal for your second desktop, to help you keep the two separated. So if you're working on projects throughout the day, it can help you isolate or keep the two separate. Number 4, new settings and icons in the menu bar. So, and let me, just for this example, I'm going to go to documents, and I'm going to say new text document, and I'm just going to say test for this demonstration. But you see, now that I do that, it lights up scissors. So now they have a new icon for cut, copy, and I haven't copied anything, so paste is not highlighted, which is intuitive because there's nothing to paste until I cut a copy. I can click this to rename, and I just say test 1. And likewise, if I wanted to share that with somebody, I can click this for the share feature or delete. And with multiple files, you could decide how you want to sort or group the items. I'll consider coming back doing a more in-depth detail on some of those other features later, but for right now, I just demonstrate. Once I press copy, now that you see the paste is available to click. So when I click paste, it makes a copy of that. So these new icons take a bit of getting used to, but I do think they're a little bit more intuitive and clean. And and I like that in the settings. And again, I'll come back and do a more in-depth detail training on this hopefully later. And number 5 for this video, for just 5 tips that the Black Christian Geek likes about Windows 11 thus far, after using it as my daily driver for about 3 weeks, is an overall layout from the notifications. If I have a touch screen, so if you slide from the right hand side, it pops a menu out, and let me just do a quick screen capture, and I'll just capture the blooming logo. When that comes up, likewise, if I were now to slide out, you see my snip and sketch, so my notifications there. And if I slide out from the left, and yes, I am a Cowboys fan, and I'm happy they won this past Sunday night, but it lists the notifications. I'm sorry, the widgets that slide out from the left. The widgets that you see are the exact same widgets that pop up in a little weather notification icon in Windows 10. But I do think it's growing on me that it's a little more intuitive the way they designed it here, although I do miss having it in my taskbar on the bottom. And at last, I do like that they centered everything on the lock screen. So the lock screen, I think, is a lot cleaner now with having the clock and the date centered. So those are 5 things that the Black Christian Geek likes about Windows 11. And stay tuned for the updates that will start coming down as early as October 5th. Hopefully you found this beneficial. And if you did, consider giving me a thumbs up, liking the video if it's on Facebook. If you think others may benefit from it, share it with them. I greatly appreciate it. And if this wasn't for you, stick around for more videos to come. Thanks for watching, and God bless.